Several years ago, my kids were outside playing. One of them found an acorn. They took the acorn, dug a hole in the ground, put it in it, buried it, and then watered it. After they did that, they took a stick and put it in the ground beside it so that when I went to mow, I wouldn't cut it down. It was later that Rachel and I were talking about them planting the tree in the backyard, and one of the kids heard us and ran to the door and asked, "Is it growing yet?" I told them that it takes time, water, and the right nutrients for the tree to grow. It doesn't just happen. In a similar way, becoming the Christian that God wants us to be doesn't just happen. I think sometimes we're like my kids, and we fail to see what all is needed to grow and become the Christian God wants us to be. Yes, we need time, and we must put effort into it, but we often forget that we need God's help. John 15, verse 1 says, "I am the true vine. My Father is a husbandman." True means real or genuine. He is the real source of our strength. In other words, what I need is not found in myself. Down in verse 5 of John 15, he says, "Without me, you can do nothing." The reminder is we need God's help. We can't do it ourselves. Every day of our life, we need Him so that we can be what He wants us to be. 2 Corinthians 3 says, "Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think anything as of ourselves, but our sufficiency is of God, who also hath made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life." Paul said, I cannot live the Christian life, and I cannot serve God in my own strength. I need God's help. He is the one that enables me. Often we as Christians think if we're talented enough, then God can use us. We think if we're disciplined enough, then we can live the Christian life. But the truth, we cannot do it ourselves. We need His help. The Christian life does not just happen. The successful Christian life is the result of an individual that is depending on God's help. 1 Corinthians 15:10 says, "But by the grace of God, I am what I am. And His grace, which was bestowed upon me, was not in vain. But I labored more abundantly than they all. Yet not I, but the grace of God, which was with me." Paul said, don't look at me and think about what I've done. Realize I am where I am because of God's grace. Yes, I worked at it, but God helped me. We must realize as Christians today, we won't succeed as a Christian in our own strength. We must rely on God's help every day to be what God wants us to be. Don't depend on your talent. Don't depend on your ability or your knowledge. Take time every day to ask God for help and trust Him to give it.